How much money do you think I've spent on Yu-Gi-Oh cards? If the answer isn't yes, you're not even in the right ballpark. What's going on with you guys? TheCaliEffect, King of Games here, and today we're going to be talking about cards you should buy before they skyrocket in price. Now, in our last week's video, we talked about some cards that have already skyrocketed in price, as well as if you should buy them or if you should pass on them. So if you haven't watched that video, it might be pretty important to figure out if you should probably buy those cards or not. Also, seeing that it is a first time series, post down below in the comment section of either video, this one or that one, letting me know what you would like to see inside of that video or some improvements that can be made. Moving on to this video, there are tons of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you could be buying. These particular cards may not have the pop of some of the other cards that we've said in other videos, but these cards are more than likely to go up in price just because they good. So of course, if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to destroy that subscribe button, but also be sure to post down below in the comment section what are some cards that you think will skyrocket in price. So without further ado, let's start talking about these amazing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now this card kind of baffles me because I expected it to be an extremely expensive card upon its release. It came from a set that not a lot of people were interested in, and on top of that, it is the highest rarity of the card. Reinforcement of the Army was first introduced to us in the Dark Crisis set, and it allows us to add a level 4 or lower warrior monster from our decks to our hand. Reinforcement of the Army is a no-brainer. It is an amazing card for any deck that decides to play warriors, and has been considered as one of the founding staple cards in our Yu-Gi-Oh metagame. So the big question is, why are secret rare copies of this card, which has never happened before, only $9 each? Well, I think we probably should address how exactly did Reinforcement of the Army get to its current price tag. Reinforcement of the Army Secret Rare only comes from the Speed Duel set, and the only way to obtain this card is to buy the box set and pray to the gods that you pull one of these secret rares because they all come in random. That's right, you're not even guaranteed this card inside of the Speed Duel box. I'm not sure if people have realized that you're not guaranteed this card. In my box, I pulled the Egyptian God cards and Spell Canceller. Yeah, I don't even want to remember the other two cards because it just wasn't worth it. There are a few reasons why I think Reinforcement of the Army will go up in price eventually. The first factor is that it is the highest rarity of a staple Yu-Gi-Oh card. Not necessarily considered a staple now, but you guys get what I'm saying. It also is extremely hard to get from the Speed Duel set, a set that not a lot of players necessarily wanted. I can see secret rare copies of Reinforcement of the Army being a $20 Yu-Gi-Oh card, but if it did come off the forbidden list, boy, you in trouble. Reinforcement of the Army can hit to astronomical numbers that I'm not even sure I'm comfortable with even saying. Of course, this is a card that I think you should make sure you have your copies of if you are an avid warrior player. So as avid Yu-Gi-Oh players, one thing we should always look for is very important cards to specific strategies that don't have a lot of prints. You could say that we're almost cheetahs the way that we look at certain strategies because they don't have a lot of prints. Well, maybe we're not cheetahs, but we definitely ain't lying. The Hidden City is a card for the Subterrors strategies that is extremely important and doesn't necessarily have a lot of prints. Basically, what the Hidden City does is upon its activation, you can add a Subterror monster from your deck to your hand. We can pretty much stop right there. It's Reinforcement of the Army for Subterrors. It's right there. It's mandatory. You need it. The Hidden City also allows you to change Subterror monsters' battle position, and when one of your face down monsters are attacked, you can flip it face up and negate the attack. Now, there is multiple reasons why I'm looking at the Hidden City very strangely. The first one would be is that Subterror is actually a pretty good strategy, but it made its debut in the Dark Illusion set. Now, for the people that don't know, Dark Illusion is one of the very few sets in America that only had one run. We don't have an unlimited version of the Hidden City. Unless you want to travel to the true Hidden City in Europe, because they have unlimited runs, and that's how you would Hidden City. Now, mercifully, this card did get a reprint inside of the Mystic Fighter set as a super rare, but even the super rare copies of the Hidden City are creeping up at about $7, while their secret rare counterparts are about $10. Now, I personally think the only thing that is saving grace for Subterrors is that it's not a deck that has consistently topped inside of this meta, but it's definitely one of those strategies that I feel that you should pick up while it's relatively cheap, because if we don't get any other Hidden City reprints, then if this strategy does become popular again, I'm gonna do the spin thing again. You in trouble. I literally should have just titled this video, Have These Cards or You in Trouble. I don't know. Now, as disappointing as the Blazing Vortex set is, there's actually a few gems inside of the set that we probably should be looking at. These are again some cards that I don't feel that will skyrocket in price overnight. I don't think that there's a single card in this video that would do so, but keeping an eye on Cortis the Triphasic Dealmon is probably something you should do. This card literally sounds like a mix between a black person and Digimon. I don't even know what to say. Cortis, get your ass down there before I whoop your motherfucking ass. Yeah, that sounds like a black name. And then of course you got Mon at the end because, you know, that's what Digimon does. Now what Cortis does is allow you to pay life points to be able to gain effects, whether it's adding spell or trap cards from your graveyard to your hand, destroying cards on the field, or giving himself attack. That's almost irrelevant to why we actually even think Cortis is a decent card, though those effects aren't that bad. The reason why Cortis is a card that you should keep an eye on is because it requires a Link, an Exceed, and a Synchro monster to summon. Like seriously, Cortis, where were you at the beginning of the Eldritch and Adamantipator format? Where were you? Cortis is the perfect super polymerization target if we ever do get in a format where players summon Link, Synchro, and Exceed monsters consistently. Paired with the fact that he can even add super polymerization back to your hand, I mean, Cortis ain't that bad. Currently, Cortis is $1 per copy, but even if there were a deck to be introduced right now, I don't see Cortis going up in price. This is one of those long-term investments where, you know, down the line, there's a super outrageously powerful deck and Cortis is just like, hi, I'm the answer, and nobody brought Blazing Vortex, so I'm kind of important. I mean, I guess that situation could come up now, but I wouldn't see Cortis higher than a $5 Yu-Gi-Oh card. That's still a pretty good investment for only using $1 to pick him up. Sometimes you guys scratch my head because we've seen these cards in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh play, yet some players decide not to have them until they go up in price, and then they find a way to blame me for it. Like, I mean, okay. I'm still working on making that video about me making cards go up in price, but until then, you're gonna have to deal with Paleozoic Dynamiscus eventually going up in price. Now, what Paleozoic Dynamiscus does is that you can target one face-up card on the field, then you banish it and discard one card. Also, it can special summon itself from the graveyard to the side of the field as a level 2 Aqua monster if a trap card is activated. This card is just simply one of the best trap cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, not only giving you free spot removal, but the ability to bring a chump blocker to your side of the field that can be used for Link and Exceed plays if you decide to go down that route. Now, fortunately for us, not all Paleozoic Dynamiscus are made the same. This card did make its debut as a common, we're not even worried about that. And the super rares, they're okay, they're $3 a pop right now, but what we're actually going to be looking for is those ultra rares. Now, ironically, ultra rare copies of Paleozoic Dynamiscus sit lower than the super rare copies at about $2 a piece. This is easily a $5 ultra rare trap card if I've ever seen one. It's already interesting enough that we've had months of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! While seeing this card in a lot of topping lists, no one decided to jump on the boat and just be like, hey, I'm gonna have Paleozoic Dynamiscus just in case. And the last card I want to talk to you about reminds me of the Subterrors situation. This is a card that is really important for the particular strategy, but unlike Subterrors, this strategy is a bit of an unknown when it comes to competitive relevancy. I gotta give a shout out to my boy Tom, because when I first seen the S-Force strategy, I was definitely skeptical until Tom quickly reminded me that the S-Force monsters can be based off of Power Rangers. That actually feels so much better. Force Bridgehead is one of the most important cards for the S-Force strategy beside whatever that card would be. And if the deck ever seen any type of competitive relevancy, well then you might want to have some Force Bridgeheads. Force Bridgehead is a secret rare spell card out of the Blazing Vortex set, which effect reads, when it is activated, add one S-Force monster from your deck to your hand. That's it. Seriously, don't know what the rest of the card does. I just know that it adds cards. Don't need to know, but I'm pretty sure you're going to want to know, so here it is. Bridgehead also says when an S-Force monster battles a monster, you know what? I can't even get into it. You're not going to S-Force me to say this card effect. We're just going to move on to the rest of it. It's a reinforcement of the army. That's why it's a card that could potentially skyrocket. Now, unlike Subterrors having competitive relevancy inside of the format, we don't know if S-Force will ever hit that potential. The Lightning Overdrive set has already been revealed. Possibly in the next future sets, we'll get some S-Force support that would be really good. And if we do, S-Force Bridgehead is a card that you're probably gonna want as it searches the most important monster. Monster. I don't know what they do. I don't. I have not invested into reading them. They're the police. Why would I? Last time I checked on S-Force Bridgehead, it was a $5 secret rare. If this deck does see competitive relevancy, Bridgehead can be a $20 secret rare. But again, we're kind of betting on S-Force Bridgehead more than anything. This isn't a surefire thing. Well, that's all that we have for cards that you should buy before they skyrocket in price. Of course, let me know down below in the comment section, what are some cards that you think will skyrocket in price soon? And what do you think about these current cards on the list? Also, be sure to check out these videos as I'll catch you on the next one.